In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Third and final segment of the show. Still trying to find out, how do we pronounce colonel in the military? And there's no R there. Please help me out. Paul Amadeus Lane. Remember, you can connect with me, paulamadeuslane.com. Talked about this at the beginning of the show and throughout the show. Sony PlayStation has decided not to be at E3 next year. What does this mean? What does it not mean? You know, I had to have my buddy, my man with the master plan, fellow disabled journalist, fellow disabled gamer, join me to talk about it. So, hey, let's do this because ain't no party like a disabled gamer party, because a disabled gamer party don't stop. My man, Tony Polanco in the house. What's going on, man?
Oh, what is good, man? You know how it is, man. Me and you get together, man, is fire.
You know what, man? It's like I'm on the West, you're on the East Coast, and what does Shaq say? I like living on the West Side, even though I grew up on the East Side. So, you know, we got to bring it together, right?
That's it, man. Coming together.
You know it.
That's
you know it.
Around here.
My man with the master plan. Hey, I know you and I kind of been going back and forth, sending text messages when we got the message last week that PlayStation will not be at E3 next year. And I think I saw your Twitter blow up. I saw everybody else's Twitter blow up. Man, what's been the initial reaction from all your fans out there from the Throwdown show and everything? What's been the reaction?
Yeah, the operative word is shocked. Everybody was shocked. You know, as you could imagine, Sony has always been the highlight of any E3. They've been there for 24 years since the show began. Actually, kind of interesting. Next year will be the 25th year. So they're not going to be out there at the 25th year. But yeah, because again, Sony always has the best presentation, the most looked forward to presentations. So them not being there is pretty, you know, it's crazy, to be honest. And let's also not forget the fact that Sony is the big dog, right? Nintendo's big, obviously. Microsoft is big, but none of them touch Sony where they're at right now. So not having the biggest dog in the yard like there, that's insane to me. You know, so I think the reactions you've seen have been pretty appropriate. But we're gonna get into, you know, some of the logic behind it, because as shocking as the whole announcement was, like when I started really thinking about it, I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense in a weird way, you know. But what was your take on it when you heard the news?
You know, I was shocked too, and shocked but not surprised. And the reason why I say that was last year at E3, we got invited to like a media mixer with some of the executive leaders at Sony Interactive Entertainment who runs PlayStation, and having conversations, you can tell that them being at E3 had nothing to do with them selling consoles, because by the time E3 rolls around, they're already in the black. They've already done their numbers for the year. So E3 was more of something just for the fans now to come out and show their appreciation. So with that being said, I kind of saw like a shift coming, like, okay, since most of the people at E3 that we run into, Tony, nowadays on the floor, they're trying to sell a product, they're trying to do all these things, but the big dogs are there just to, you know, give some props out there to the fans and everything. So I kind of knew something was coming. I didn't know something like this was coming. And then to have Microsoft kind of throw some shade and troll on it, I'm like, you really want to tug on Superman's cape?
Yeah, that reaction from Microsoft, you know, Phil Spencer and all those other guys, because, you know, pretty soon after Sony made the announcement, Microsoft, they tweeted out, this was the official Xbox account, Phil Spencer. They said, hey, we look forward to seeing our fans at E3 2019. I'm like, okay, you didn't say this 2 hours ago. You didn't say this yesterday. You specifically waited for Sony to do that. So it just seemed kind of, you know, like opportunistic to me, you know, like but I understand where they're coming from. It's like Microsoft's in second place right now, so they need to do whatever they can to, you know, try to get more mind share. But I kind of found it slightly unprofessional, You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't overt. It wasn't
Definitely.
overtly unprofessional, but it was slightly low key unprofessional to me. You know,
Definitely, especially when you look at PlayStation. You know, they always try to include the gaming world all together. You know, like especially when it comes to accessible gaming. I know you and I talked about how PlayStation was honored a few nights ago at this event for disabilities, and during the speech, one of the lead designers of Naughty Dog talked about some of the great work that other gamers, other gaming consoles are doing out there to help make disability gaming inclusive for all. And they did not throw shade at all about how unuser-friendly one controller is that's supposed to be user-friendly for the disabled. They didn't throw shade like that. But to have Microsoft do that, I thought that was kind of a little, what do you call it, fun competition. But I think they are going to, I wish they hadn't done that. Because when you have like a media company, Sony, that makes films, that does a lot of things, you can imagine if they do something at E3, it's going to be like it was when they did the God of War opening, when you and I were there and we were like mouth dropped and everything.
Yeah, and that's something, you know, we talked about before the show. You know, Sony may not be having like a big public event or anything like that, but they're going to be at E3. Like, there's no way that the biggest dog in town is not going to be at E3 in some capacity. For example, Rockstar is there every single year, right? You don't see any of the press conferences or nothing. You don't hear any announcement from them, but they're there, physically there. The company's there. Sony's going to be there as well. I guarantee you that. And just because they won't be at E3 doesn't mean you're not going to get any big news around that time. I do want to point out, and this just, I'm going to use a fact to make a slight prediction. The original Last of Us came out the same week of E3. Don't be surprised if the sequel comes out at the same time. Sony is not going to let their competitors have all the shine that week. I guarantee you they're going to do something. They're going to announce something that's going to make everybody put their attention back to Sony. And this goes to show the power that Sony commands now. You know, I don't know if you mind me kind of skipping things a little forward, right? I think Sony is at a point right now where they're so big with thanks to PlayStation that they don't need E3 anymore. They could do anything on their own terms, you know, and it'll get the same amount of attention. In general, and I hate saying this as an old school, you know, gamer, but it's just the fact of the matter now. E3 in general is not that relevant anymore, right? Back in the day when you only had magazines and the such to rely on, right? E3 was essential because you had all the biggest companies come together in one spot to reveal their products to journalists. Now, because of streaming, what we're doing right now, basically, companies can do things on their own time and on their own dime. So E3 is becoming increasingly irrelevant. Look what's happening right now. EA is no longer there, not on the floor. Microsoft's already pulled out somewhat, you know. So Sony doing it in this capacity is not too surprising. So, and again, and you know, just to go back to what I was saying about Rockstar, they're another one. They don't need E3 either. They're too big for E3 now. They announce things on their time. You know, Sony's probably doing the same thing. But with that said, they will still use E3 to some capacity. It's just things are changing now. So people just need to be aware of that. E3, as you know it, is probably not going to be around in the next 5 years. And some of these companies are already sensing that. So they're hedging their bets and just doing their own thing. Because no matter what, when Sony makes an announcement, where they do it, doesn't matter. They will get the same amount of eyeballs as they do at E3.
No, I totally agree, Tony. That's spot on. Well said. You know, because we're at the point now where, as journalists and people in the business, we have to share the floor with Fanboy, which is not a problem. I like interacting with Fanboy. But it's lost its luster. I think it's going to be more like a Comic-Con, you know, going this forward. You know, going to have just fans there and everything, and really not a lot of industry folks, because how many times you and I get a chance to review games before they come out? So it's like, why do we need to go out, you know, to E3 if we're already getting these experiences before the fans do? I mean, it's cool to go to the press conferences, cool to interact and everything, but I was like, if Sony is not going to have any, PlayStation's not going to have any presence there, I'm like, why should I go? And even though You know, we go to the EA press conference, we go to the Microsoft press conference. It's something about being at the PlayStation press conference, being at PlayStation. You feel the warmth, you feel the camaraderie, you feel the love they have for the fans and individuals. I'm sorry, other companies out there feel like, you know, it's more of a corporate feel. Like you don't feel like you're part of a community. You feel like you're a part of the consumer base, not a family like PlayStation do. And I think them not being there is going to hurt a lot.
Yeah, that's something I never really put into words, but you're 100% right. When you go to some of these other conferences like Xbox and EA or Ubisoft or whatever, it really doesn't have that kind of, for the lack of a better term, warmness to it. You know, like when you go to a PlayStation conference, you know, you feel like you're welcome as part of the family. As weird as that sounds, because obviously we're still there to, you know, talk about their products or whatever, but it really does feel like more welcoming than the other companies do. Not saying the other companies don't welcome you, they obviously do, but there's a certain bit of separation there that I don't really feel when I go to a Sony event. The you know, executives are there openly to talk to everybody. They want to have that engagement with you. Like, for example, and I know you can say the same thing too. I know all the Sony executives. I've spoken to all of them. I can't say the same thing for Microsoft, which is interesting. Definitely can't say the same thing about Nintendo. You know, so Sony is, you know, just more open about things, you know, and I really appreciate that. So not having them there is a loss, you know, for sure, you know, and I'm definitely going to miss all that nice food they have for us every year.
I tell you, Sony takes care of their fans and the media and their supporters. No other press conference that Tony and I have went to at E3 takes care of you like Sony does. Sony gives you food, they give you drink, they give you a full experience. I mean, and again, I'm not saying this as a slap in the face to any other companies. I'm just calling balls and strikes the way it is. When you go to the EA press conference, you know, they do give you like some popcorn and everything. So they try. Microsoft, it's like, you better just be happy you're here. You know, it's kind of like that. That's how it is, you know. And I hate to say that, but and that's one thing that Sony brought to the table, especially when you went to the exhibit. Just the way that even the handlers there, the way they treated the fans, they always had a smile on their face. They were always, letting the fans play the games, and it was a good experience. You go to some of these other booths, man, it's like, and even offsite at the EA offsite. I mean, I had the worst journalistic experience that I ever had there. And I was like, you know what? I just left. I'm like, I'm not being paid to be here by you guys. You know, I'm covering you guys. I'm getting paid, you know, just to work, period. But I left, you know, and I never, after I saw you did a little interview, I was gone. I was out. But it just goes to show that Sony, they just do a lot. They go above and beyond. And for them not to be there is going to be impactful. But like you and I said, they're going to be there in some capacity. I'm telling you, they will have some presence at E3. Do not despair.
Yeah, no, for sure. And next year potentially could be a pretty crucial year, right? You know, these are just rumors right now, but people are thinking that perhaps the reason we're not going to get E3 next year is because Sony plans to have another PSX where they're going to announce a PlayStation 5. I don't know about that. I have my own theories about that. I think they're actually going to announce the PS5 in early 2020, because if that's the year it's going to release, pretty much what they did with PS4. They announced it in the early part of the year, release it later. But it's also possible that they could have PSX back, because remember, they didn't have PSX this year. Technically speaking, we should have been going to PSX in 2 weeks, but they're not having it this year. I think all of this is a calculated move, and this goes to what I was talking about before. Why do I think Sony did this? Partly it's because E3 is not really part of their game plan anymore, because again, not as relevant as it used to be. But you know, they could be like, okay, we're not going to have PSX this year, and we're not going to go to E3 because we're going to have our own big blowout event. Maybe December when PSX normally held. And Paul, I can guarantee if, you know, that happens, you and I will both be there.
Absolutely.
So, Yeah, I think, you and I are on the same page. Sony is going to have something big next year. May not be at E3, even though at E3, I guarantee you they're going to have something. But next year, expect something big from Sony, like an announcement for sure. I guarantee you that.
And let's just say that if our worst fears come to fruition and they're not at E3, you're going to see a drop, I think, in attendance from the journalistic side. When it comes, we'll be there to cover a few things, but I don't think we're going to be in droves like it was before, especially if Sony's not there in some capacity. So I got a feeling they're going to be there, but if not, that's all I got to say. Say,
bro, I'm the same way because, I got to fly 3,000 miles, bro, spending thousands of dollars, man. I have to really consider if I need to go with E3 because you're right about, here's the thing, and you brought this up already. A lot of the games that I play at E3, I get to play again later when the companies come to New York, for private events or whatever, right? So I'm not really going to be missing, like, for example, when I went to EA, I played Battlefield 5, right? Bro, I played Battlefield 5 2 more times after that in New York, so I don't really need to go there for some of this stuff. Like the big games, I'm going to have a chance to play whatever. So I have to really consider, do I need to go to E3? I love going to E3. I get to see you. I get to see all these people, right? I've noticed increasingly that's been my main motivation to go to E3. Just like I hang out with my buddies I only get to see on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah,
and with money being what it is now, I have to really consider, basically, if things pan out the way I believe they will, that there's going to be a PSX next year, I think it might be better for me to save my money for E3. Don't go to E3. Go to California for PSX instead. I think that might be a better call for myself because, again, like you said, we ain't missing these games. You're going to get a chance to play these games. I'm going to get a chance to play these games, just not at E3,
Yeah, spot on, man. And one thing about Tony, when he's at E3, Tony's player. He be having all the girls lined up. He be sitting there chilling, rapping to him, macking to him. Hey, look at my man Tony right there. See,
man, listen, like I keep telling you, man, I'm just a good people person. Man, woman don't matter to me. If you cool, I'm talking to you.
And the way I look at it, man, shoot your shot.
You crazy.
Those who procrastinate, they get left behind, man.
Yeah, right, man. It's wild, man. Yeah. But it's gonna be. But that sentiment going back, my buddy Rich from the Coalition. Shout out to Richard Bailey Jr. He was like, because he's from Atlanta. He's like, yo, I don't even know if I want to go to E3. And a lot of other cats I know feel the same way. So I think you might be right. There might be a drop off. And think about this: not only a drop off with journalists, a drop off with audiences, because there's no Sony booth now for them to play all these games. Yeah. So it's like, why are you going to bother? I know, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a bunch of other stuff from there. Microsoft, Capcom, Square Enix, all these other companies. By the way, Paul, I love how the ESA immediately threw out that email to us. It's like, guys, we still got stuff. Please show up next year.
Yes.
Mad
that
desperate,
came out real quick, man. That came out real quick. And the thing of it is now, for ones who are journalists who weren't able to get into E3 before, overcrowded and things like that, if some of us old timers, are not there, you have an opportunity to go, but play a little hardball. Be like, oh, now you want me? Now you want me to come because nobody else is coming? You won't play a little hardball with them, especially those press conferences you couldn't get into before. They'd be like, oh, we want you there. I'd be like, wait a minute. Last year you didn't even know my name. So what did Mike Jones say back then? You didn't know me. Now you all up on me. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's going to be interesting next year, man.
It is. Tony, always great to catch up with you. Before I let you go, man, what you been up to lately, man? What can people look forward to? Any writings you're going to be writing up shortly, or any new games you talked about?
Yeah, man. Since Thanksgiving is coming in a couple of days, from the time of this recording, I'm trying to just clear my slate. So right now, little bit of a plug here, I guess. I am going to be reviewing the new 8-bit do or 8-bit do, whatever, there's various ways to say it. Their new NES 30 Pro controller.
And I appreciate you not cussing, because I know you want to say something else. So I appreciate that, Tony.
yeah, man. I gotta keep myself clean. I can't say anything, my impressions right now, because you know how it is, all embargoes and all that, right? But this is what I'm reviewing now. The expect that before the week is over, or maybe a little bit after Thanksgiving. But this is what I'm working on right now. And today I also received a code for the latest Spider-Man DLC, as I believe it's called The Heist. So I'll have that up before Thanksgiving. And yeah, after that, the rest of the month is going to be pretty chill, covering some news and whatnot, it's that time of the year where things kind of start slowing down, thankfully, because the middle of the year has been insane, but that's what's going on my end right now. Just a couple little things, and I'm going to, take it a little bit easy because, Paul, you know how it is. I've been working very hard this year, so I think I deserve a little bit of a break,
Yeah, what you say, game is sold. Game is told and not sold. No, game is sold and not told. Yeah, because, when it comes to your insight, man, we definitely got to do it. And I'm looking forward to playing that game, downloading it tonight, too. Now, that's one of the cool things about being a part of the media. We get that extra couple days or so before we can play around with it. But I'm going to need your help getting stuck on some things,
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you. You already know.
We got to do PlayStation share, because fingers don't work that good. So I got to call my homie from the NYC. But hey, how can ones continue to catch up with you and stay connected with you, bro?
Yeah, man. Please follow me on Twitter. I am at Romudeth, ROMUDETH. And if you check out the bio, it's going to have links to everything from my stuff at geek.com, the Coalition, and my podcast, Throwdown. We're going to be airing a little bit earlier this week, obviously, because of Thanksgiving. And we're also, making plans for our year-end special. So be on the lookout for some of that stuff in December. But yeah, again, go to my Twitter at Romudeth, ROMUDETH. Peep the bio, and it's going to have links to everything, man.
Awesome. Yes, Turf Wars actually come out today.
Turf Wars, that's the name of it. Turf Wars. There you go. The heist was the last.
Yeah.
I'm getting it all mixed up.
that I'm gonna need your help with because I got stuck on one point. But
all right.
But yeah, and don't forget, in a few weeks, Tony's going to be joining me. We're going to do our top 10 video games of 2018. Last year we did it. We had a blast. He and I was arguing about Battlefront, though. But
I wonder if we're going to argue about Battlefield. We'll see
I know. But I think this year you and I are going to be aligned on some of the games because I think Tony's going to be in the top. Sony's going to be in the. I said Tony. Sony's going to be. That's Tony right there. Sony's going to be in the top 3, I think, of games. In our top 10, I think.
Oh yeah. I can guarantee you that.
Definitely. Great talking to you, my man.
All right, Paul. See you around, man.
All right, so Tony Polanco, you and I have our thoughts about PlayStation not being at E3 next year and what it could mean with some of the great things on the horizon. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll keep you posted. But hey, it's time for us to make like a tree and get out of here. I'm Paul Amadeus Lane. Be safe out there. Until next time, take care, folks. Love you all.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.